welcome back. I'm quoting now: another escalatory and totally unnecessary step by Vladimir Putin. That is how a senior administration official is describing the Russian president's decision to put his country's nuclear deterrence force, on heightened alert. With me now, David Sanger, White House and national security correspondent for the New York Times and a CNN political and national security analyst. He is also the author of The Perfect Weapon: War, Sabotage, and Fear in the Cyber Age. David, always good to see you. So what you're thinking, is Putin bluffing when he says he's putting this nuclear deterrence force on high alert?
I don't think he's bluffing, Brett. I think he's signaling. And I think the signal he's sending is, this isn't going well for me, so all of you stay out of the way. Don't think you're going to get involved. Don't try to help the Ukrainians, because this could spin into something nuclear. He referred to it as his nuclear deterrent, but he's using it in this case for threatening purposes. And, the administration had two ways they could have reacted. They could have gone to DEFCON 3 or DEFCON 2 and, done everything that you've seen in all the old Cold War movies. Or they could have sent people out, which is what they ultimately did, to say, we've got plenty of defenses. Our nuclear deterrent is perfectly secure. This is Vladimir Putin once again manufacturing an issue and escalating again. And that's what they chose to do. That's fine as long as his actual moves with the nuclear weapons don't look like they are particularly threatening.
It also seems like it's cementing what has become a global response to support Ukraine, and perhaps Putin might have thought that this would intimidate others, but it seems like it's done quite the opposite.
Well, it could end up intimidating some of the eastern flank NATO countries that have long worried not about Russia's strategic weapons, the ICBMs that can reach the United States, but their tactical nuclear weapons. And I think one of the concerns that they have long term is that if Russia does end up taking control of Ukraine, they will move those tactical weapons right to NATO's borders, which is one of the reasons you've seen President Biden moving troops out preemptively in those NATO countries, obviously not in Ukraine itself. But we could be right back in the worst days of nuclear standoff that we had so many years ago.
Let's talk about what could potentially happen tomorrow. Delegations from Ukraine and Russia are to meet now without preconditions on the Ukraine-Belarus border. I mean, your initial reaction to this, does it seem like it is a sincere attempt at negotiations, at furthering diplomacy, or again, might this be a distraction?
Could well be a distraction, but you'll never know until you try. So that was the theory under which the United States met the Russians in Geneva a month ago, seems like an eternity ago, had continued conversations, including between President Biden and President Putin. It's the reason the French president, President Macron, went to Moscow. So if you don't create these diplomatic moments, then there is no off-ramp. But that said, I think expectations are low. We don't expect that President Zelensky will be there, partly because of the fear that the Russians could use this as a moment to try to decapitate the government. The Russian representative sounds like he is mid-level at best, a former culture minister. So I wouldn't put a lot of stock in it.
All right. Also, this weekend, we've seen a lot. We've seen a flurry of activity from the U.S., from Europe, targeting Russia's financial system, including Russia's central bank. And additionally, there are plans to go after the assets of Russian oligarchs, their yachts, mansions, you name it, properties in other ways. Putin has not been deterred by sanctions in the past, but could these moves offer some pressure to him in country, in Russia, where he might change his course?
I think the one that has the biggest chance of creating pressure in the country is actually the move on the central bank. It sounds abstruse, but basically what they're doing is taking away the ability of the Russians to support the ruble, which has already been in considerable fall in recent days. And if they can't support it by buying the ruble with hard currencies, you're going to see potentially significant inflation in Russia. And I think that the concept here is begin to put enough pressure on the Russian people that they put pressure on Putin. Now, he may think that he's immune to that. There's a lot of thinking underway right now that he's isolated, that he's not listening to a wide range of advisors. He certainly seems to have bitten off more than he can chew right now in Ukraine. But I'm not sure at this point that any of these sanctions efforts will get him to change course. It may get him to think about not going further beyond Ukraine. And of course, that's one of the next big worries.
All right, David Sanger, but still lots of damage already done there in Ukraine. David Sanger, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and then just a short time ago, the White House responded to Russia's decision to put deterrence forces on high alert. We'll take you live to Wilmington, where CNN's Arlette Saenz is traveling with the president.